My name is Victor, and this is the story of how Jesus rescued me from an evil coven in the community I unknowingly moved into. This is the Discerning. Everything started when my wife and I were looking for a new home. When we first saw the home, we knew that this was the one. We had finally found the home we had been looking for after all of these years. We put in an offer and were approved. We began to start moving in right away. My wife and I were happy, and I celebrated with friends. The neighborhood was beautiful, and we were feeling so blessed. However, we had no idea that we had moved into a community filled with witches and warlocks. I'm a videographer, so I shoot and edit videos for several different clients, from music videos, real estate, weddings, and producers helping shoot promotional content. Things were great. I was also a salesman who went to different clients' homes to help them find the right renovation items. I was going to clients, making sales, and things were going great. When I'd leave and come back home, I had no idea that I was being watched and monitored. One of my neighbors literally had a hacker suite in his home. I began to notice my computer being hacked and also my phone. I kept noticing all these specific emails from cooking, jokes, fun, fireplace, exaggerating, losing weight. It was very strange, and I knew something wasn't right. I had to constantly restart projects because my computer was so compromised. During this time, people in the community were having meetings on how to derail my life. They all made an oath to destroy my life. The ringleader then made the call to send my life into chaos by sending out stalkers to follow me, jam my Wi-Fi anytime I would try to get things done, intercept my phone calls. I mean the whole nine. I began to notice the same type vehicles everywhere I went. However, I still had to make things happen because I had a family at home. I eventually noticed that when I'd leave, they were breaking into my home, stealing, misplacing items, setting up hidden cameras, and putting malicious software on my computers. I found my windows unlatched on several different occasions. I'd tell my wife about it, but she found it hard to believe that someone would break into her home, which caused us to argue regularly. I felt disrespected and harassed. Then I began to notice an influx of trucks revving their engines as they passed my home. Sometimes there would be an email or spam text message when certain ones passed. I couldn't sleep. Then I began seeing the same type vehicles everywhere I went. It was so overwhelming that I couldn't believe it was really happening. At this point, I had to go to a detective. I couldn't let others' actions derail my life. I have a family, and I take that seriously. I started being hyper vigilant and super aware of my surroundings. I began to feel people's spirits and found that people I was working around didn't have good intentions. I didn't realize that every time I came around, they were watching and trying to copy my style, my confidence, even the way that I dressed. I started to realize that someone was always videoing and taking pictures of me. I began calling people out on their BS, and they didn't like it. I had no idea that there was someone tracking my location and had real-life demons following me. They had me in this group chat. They were sending pictures and videos and messages too, mocking and making fun of me being humiliated and made fun of. They went to card readers and sent sex spells and black magic my way. Whenever I laid down to go to sleep, I was filled with lustful thoughts. When I went to sleep, I would have the most lustful dreams, sleeping with women I didn't even know. They constantly sent more and more. I was being unfaithful. It had me addicted, and I felt the urge so much that I felt that I couldn't shake it. I was in such a low vibration that I was literally an open vessel. Day by day, I was feeling stressed. I was being attacked, harassed, and overwhelmed, and night by night by multiple demon spirits. I began seeing different delivery trucks in the area at certain times. That really stood out to me. I would notice sometimes I would get one of those emails or notifications when they were around. Not all of them, of course, but definitely some. Day by day, I left my house in fear and instability. I felt overwhelmed with anxiety and stress. At this point, I knew I wasn't just thinking it was really happening. It was really happening. So I began to do my research and found an influx of similar experiences across the country. I began to understand more and more what was going on. I also began to understand spiritual warfare. What I didn't know is there was a private investigator on my side, watching everything unfolding in real time. He knew about the secret money being given to these individuals to stalk and harass me. He knew about the people were paid cash and gift cards. He knew literally everything from top to bottom. Also, during this time, I had new neighbors moving in, almost as if there was a new shift or something. On one of my appointments, I was helping a family with renovation, and the woman asked me if I wanted some chili, and I said yes, please, because I was starving. I finished the appointment, and they didn't buy. It was a good visit, but I noticed when I left, I was feeling super sleepy on the way home. It was unusual, and I had to drive over an hour away. Thank God I made it home. I went straight to bed and laid down immediately. I was literally exhausted. The whole time the group chat was lighting up. They were entertained while watching others try to destroy my life. The witches continued sending the evil eye viciously. Whenever I went to hang out with my friends, they were breaking into my home. They hacked into all of my contacts and had some of my old friends to get me out to go golfing, to keep breaking into my house, causing issues. They even compromised my vehicles several times. My cameras started glitching out on jobs at work, and people on set were trying to spike my drinks. I was acting stupid as if I didn't notice what was going on, and I would pour out the drinks when they weren't even looking. I began to feel the evil all around me clearly. Each time they tried to harm me, the group chat was popping. They continued to follow and stalk me everywhere I went and drive by my home, revving their trucks day after day, night after night. I was in a daze of confusion and felt alone and isolated. I didn't know that a private investigator was watching everything these people and demons were doing. Every night, it literally felt like a demon was floating above my bed, just waiting to drain my energy. They went to a master high-ranking warlock and told him what they wanted to do to me. He told them that they should reconsider because he saw that I was anointed and highly ranked and divine in the spiritual realm. He told them this could backfire terribly. They insisted and didn't care. They wanted to send an unaliving spell. They wanted him to ask the high priest's approval. He warned them once more and asked them if they were sure. They said, "Do it." He said, "As you wish." I began to pray to God to protect me and my family. They then called a meeting to sign off on the spell to drive me to end myself. They would do this by attacking my mind viciously until I broke. The high evil priest approved the mission, and the demons were unleashed. I was isolated, alone, with nobody to turn to. It felt like everyone was against me. I would leave, and they would watch and send the evil energy. The trucks would pass, the emails, spam messages, and push notifications kept coming to hack my phone. The hacking neighbors were attacking me obsessively, but the private investigators were on to them. They were in disbelief how far these people were willing to go. My work pad started being hacked and accessed during appointments with my clients. They were making it to where I come to them for appointments to waste my time and humiliate me. They were sending chaos magic to my wife and I. We were arguing like crazy, and everything was in disarray. My one friend I thought I had left didn't believe me. They had these devices that would hack and jam my Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cell signal. I tried to explain it to my parents. They didn't believe it at first either. I was so frustrated. My life was spiraling out of control. I went to the Bible and prayed to God to guide me. to direct my steps, to speak through me, to protect me. I somehow still had to show up at work to take care of my family, but I had no idea what was to come. Looking back on it, the only thing I can think to call it was Hell Week. Every single home I went to was evil. They were literally demons. They would say the most violent things and say things that I would say in my home as if they knew my personal conversations with my wife and family. They were talking loud and all picking the same products, and every single person said, "Just give me a quote. I just want a quote." It was so evil and dirty. They were violent the whole time, then denied me each time. It was shattering my confidence and belief. They were breaking me down day by day. The private investigator was feeling like it's time to put this case together before it was too late. I was so beat down mentally from the consistent abuse. I was in a constant fight or flight mode. Everything was crashing down around me. The harassment and hacking of my Wi-Fi in my neighborhood was at an all-time high. Someone walked in my yard and stuck an arrow in it. It had no tip and no fins. Someone literally stuck it there, and they hacked into my cell phone account. It was the highest level harassment and evil. Whenever I'd come and go, they were watching. The last day of what I call Hell Week was the day that I'll never forget. I was broken all the way down, and the unalive spirit was unleashed against me. I pulled up to this client's house. I could literally feel the evil coming off the house. The client literally seemed to be a demon. I was measuring the hallway of the house, and he started to play rap music, talking about murder and violence. I tried to ignore it and was in disbelief that a client would play such thing in what was supposed to be a professional setting, but then he turned it up even louder. After leaving that appointment, my mind was defeated. I was driving home quietly, just in my thoughts. All I could see was that evil demon of a client in my head, blasting the music louder and louder. An evil presence came over me, and I began to think about taking myself out. The card reader sent the most powerful spell out that would destroy me for good. So the ringleader made the call for the final contract to be signed. They signed it even after the high-ranking warlock told them it could backfire terribly. The copycat felt he was ready to take my skills and my whole appearance. The group chat was the biggest topic of the day. All the demons were watching and laughing at me in the lowest point in my life. That drive home, I literally conditioned myself to do it. There was literally the most evil spirit over my neighborhood as I pulled up to my house. My mind was tortured nonstop, and I was at my breaking point. The witches were sending all their most powerful energies towards me in that moment. I could see myself with my weapon in my hand. I could feel the energy intensifying. I could feel the evil energy around my home. Instead of doing it right off, I decided to write my family a letter telling them I loved them so much and I was sorry it had to end this way. While writing the letter, I was a wreck, feeling the evil power and seeing myself with the weapon. I was finishing the letter and getting ready to do it, but then my wife came home. She walked in and saw me finishing the letter and ran over and snatched it from me and began to read it. She broke down. She said, "No, you can't do this. I can't live without you. Your family needs you." It seems like I literally snapped out of it as if I was possessed. We were both crying. I explained to her no one was listening to me. No one believed that I was being followed, stalked, harassed, and bullied, and I felt there was no reason for me to be here anymore. I then immediately turned to the Bible. I submitted myself to God and asked that He fill me with His Spirit and help bring justice to my situation. Not long after that, I received a phone call. That was the best news I had ever received. It was the detective I spoke with when I reported the suspicious activity around me. He said they caught the evidence of the evil community cult I was being targeted by. Some other neighbors and community members were in disbelief, talking amongst each other about the horrible acts happening around them to me. I was vindicated. That night, I had a dream that God was angry. He sent His angels down over the neighborhood, and they began to snatch the demon souls out of their bodies, and had these people binded eternally until they repent and turn to him while facing their karma and the wrath of God. A warrior angel then showed me a judge appointed by God, police officers anointed by God, firefighters anointed by God, nurses anointed by God, and military soldiers anointed by God. He showed me that they were assigned by him to my life for protection and judgment against the evil against me. The private investigator that was assigned to my case was celebrated for finding the truth, and God blessed him and his family 10 times over for helping bringing my justice. My wife and I were happy again and stronger than ever. The last dream I had was the most powerful. I saw the homes from the Hell Week with giant snakes slithering through their homes. Then I saw a witch in a back room of a house, standing looking out the window. She began to melt, then turning into salt, only leaving the cloak. Then something amazing happened. A beam shot down from the sky, and a warrior angel appeared in front of that house. He looked at me and said, "Look up." I looked up and saw 3 warrior angels, and he said, "They're with you everywhere you go, so have no fear." Then came down a powerful angel from God. He came down with a sword and handed me a flaming sword. He said, "You are one of us. You are an earth angel. You now have the authority to access the physical and spiritual realm with ease. Now, not only can you fight your battles in the world, but you can also slay demons in the spirit world with us." I grabbed the sword and immediately grew wings, and fire surrounded me, giving me a powerful feeling that can't be explained. Then Archangel Michael came down and personally told me my assignment for God's kingdom. He anointed me. Then, just like that, he was gone in a flash. After this whole life experience, I realized that it was necessary to realize my calling. I also know everywhere I go, no matter where I am surrounded by angels. I now know who I am and why I was chosen, but most importantly, I know that God is with me.